Here we're going to use the law of cosines to find the length of side A. So up at the top we have the law of cosines. Let's take a look at the picture first. Notice that the angles are labeled with capital letters, capital A, B, and C. And the side lengths are the lowercase letters. Notice that the side lengths with that same letter are directly across from each other. So like angle A, side A is directly across. Or if we look at angle B, side B is directly across. Okay? So, and then we have three different formula options. So in looking at our problem down below, our first step is to label the sides and angles. Now for this problem, they're using a capital A for that side length. I'm going to change that to a lowercase a. So that means that this is angle A, because again, the angle is directly across from the side length with the same letter. And then I'm just going to pick the other ones to be angle B. We'll call this angle B. So that means this is side length B. And we'll call this angle C. So this one directly across is side length, lowercase c. So now that I've done this, notice that like what we know, so we can figure out which of these formulas we're going to use. We know angle capital A, okay? And we know side lengths, lowercase b and lowercase c. And we want to know side length, lowercase a. So which of those formulas would we use? Just looking at which of the angles that we can actually find the cosine of, we know angle A. So I think it's this formula that we're going to use to find out what lowercase a is. So let's write that down over here on the right. And then our next step is to substitute in what we know into this formula and then start to solve, start to simplify. So we know, we don't know a, lowercase a, but we do know that b is 16, so this is 16 squared. We do know c is 52, so 52 squared, minus 2 times b times c times cosine of angle A. And that big angle A is 115 degrees. So now we're just going to start simplifying it one step at a time. I'm going to do the exponents first, see what this is and this is in my calculator. And I don't know what a squared is. I'm going to leave that as a squared. Now let's see what 2 times 16 times 52 is. Now let's see what the cosine of 115 degrees is. Now let's start to simplify some more. We still have our a squared. Now before I do any adding and subtracting, I still have a multiplication dot right here. So let's multiply. I'm just going to pull in this negative sign, so multiply negative 1,664 by this negative 0.42, which I had to simplify that a little bit. So let's multiply this and see what we get. And it's a positive number, so I'm just going to put a plus sign there and pull down my other numbers, 256 and 2704. Now I can add all these together and see what we get. And then the last step, we need a by itself, but right now a is being squared. So we need to undo that by doing the inverse of squaring, which is the square root. So let's take the square root of both sides. What that's going to do on the left side is cancel out that square, so we're just left with a, which is what we want. So let's put the right side into our calculator. And we get 60.5. The last step is to just look at it and see if that makes sense. If the length of this side is 52, let's use a different color. The length of this side is 52. Does it make sense that this side is 60.5? Does it look like it's a little bit bigger? Yeah. So just look at it and make sense. If it like happened to have been 20, that wouldn't have made sense that this side is smaller than this side. It definitely looks a little bit longer. So make sure you don't miss that last step. If it doesn't make sense, you need to go back through some of these calculations and make sure you didn't make some small little mistake that made your final answer a little off.